wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and these are your October 2021 video horoscopes for all the 12 signs. And by the way, October will be a very fascinating month because we have 4 planets turning direct, which is very positive to some extent because it means many areas of your life will start moving ahead in a positive direction without surprises and complications. So we expect a big turn of the winds happening in October. But if you want to have more specific predictions for your personal chart only, you can check for free your personal transits on my free transit calendar. You can see a video out of it here. And each transit is specific for you. No one else in the world will have them at the same time as you. So you can really follow what's exactly happening, like a professional astrologer will do it for you from my transit calendar, which is for free for everyone. And now enjoy the 2021 October videos. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, October 2021. My fellow Aquarius, this will be a month you remember quite positively. It's not going to be super easy, but it's going to turn out really good by the end. You're going to start feeling it from after the 11th already. The first week or 10 days, Saturn is stationary, the planet that rules us, the traditional ruler. So it might feel like heavy responsibilities build up. You might feel like it's kind of intense, but you start to feel that it's shifting. Something is shifting. It's becoming stationary in our first house, in Aquarius, basically. So this is us. So we're gonna feel first maybe more of a burden because when the planet becomes stationary, it almost is 5 times more potent. And the most important events tend to happen when the planet is stationary and changes direction. But this time, the build-up happens till the 11th, and when then Saturn starts moving gradually forward in our first house. So we're gonna start feeling such a relief. We're gonna start feeling like all the responsibilities we had, they are starting to pay off, especially if you've been working, preparing on something, putting the efforts before that. And after the 11th, you start reaping the rewards. Or if you had some projects which you've personally involved with, which were delayed, which there were blockages, which you couldn't do like I, because I've been trying to work for the last 3 months since Saturn turned retrograde, and it's very rarely I can with my projects because of other responsibilities and duties out of the blue. Circumstances outside of my sphere of influence, because Saturn also rules our 12th house. So circumstances we can't, they're beyond us. They're kind of God's doing there, external. They might have blocked your progress or maybe made you feel like you're not moving as fast or in the way you want. And the things are not developing the way you're expecting them. But when Saturn starts moving direct, those external, invisible sources of influence that are more like karmic, I would say, or more God's will beyond us, they start easing up on us, and we're going to start being able to move ahead with our plans and projects slowly. It's Capricorn after all. It changes direction slowly, but after the 10th, 11th, you're really going to see forward progress ahead. And you're gonna start feeling more initiative. You're gonna start moving ahead in a new direction, not just doing old stuff, but you still have a few things to complete because Jupiter is also retrograde till the 18th and Mercury is retrograde till the 18th. Together they turn direct on the 18th, and Jupiter is retrograde in our first house again. So we're still doing things from the past, editing, fixing, redoing, internalizing more. And maybe working on some projects with Mercury retrograde till the 18th that require editing, redoing, extra effort, mental effort. Mercury is extra mental effort connected to teaching, to connected to higher education of some sort, maybe some documents connected to relocation or visas or stuff like that. They might feel more complicated or more burdensome. You might have to get extra documents, and especially if you're trying to move somewhere, visas, stuff like that. Arrange travels, there might be delays till Mercury is still retrograde, but then from the 18th, both Jupiter in the first house starts moving direct. So our affairs, our own personal affairs, and even some blockages with our health from October, especially after both planets start moving direct, and Saturn and Jupiter after the 18th, full force ahead after the 18th. And seeing the results of our previous efforts, and then complications or delays in matters, as I said, the Mercurial ones after the 18th, they start moving ahead. Delays with travels or ability to travel get removed in some way. For some of you, I know you'll say, oh, a lot more lockdowns are coming. Well, for everyone it's different, but also, you see, there is such great indication of you coming more into your power and things becoming easier for us, but not immediately at the start of the month. As I said, while both planets will be stationary, that requires very extra effort. And first you get relief from the 11th when Saturn turns direct, then from the 18th when Jupiter turns direct, and then it's much more smoother sailing after that. But there is also a huge focus in our 9th house. Look at that. There is a huge stellium happening there. There is a new moon that's happening on the 6th, and it will involve Mercury, Mars, and the moon and the sun. And then there is a triple conjunction of the sun with Mars and Mercury on the 9th. Triple conjunction, which means 4 new cycles are starting. The sun Mercury one, the sun Mars one, the Mercury Mars one. Yes, so sun Mercury, sun Mars, Mars Mercury, and a new moon, approximately within 2-3 days of each other. So 4 new cycles are starting in your 9th house, while you're also completing some old things there, because it's, Mercury is retrograde till the 18th. But even before you complete them, projects with teaching, projects with travel, projects with higher education, export, import, higher knowledge, you already new sources of inspiration appear for you, because the 9th house is the most inspired house, where God talks to us, where God communicates to us through teachers, through inspiring books, through inspiring videos, through inspiring thoughts that come to you. You'll become like a visionary this month. You'll see the bigger picture, and some new perspective will open up to you, starting already from the new moon and then the triple conjunction on the 9th. So those first 10 days, higher, like your higher mind is the 9th house. It opens up and you start downloading information. You can definitely, and the 9th house is the perspective, what perspective we have of the world. And Einstein said you can't solve a problem from the same perspective and state of mind in which it was created. Well, now all of this is shifting. The whole October, you'll see gradual changes there. So you'll be able to see in a much more optimistic way, to look at matters of your future, matters regarding the whole world, especially if you're seeing like I, especially all those planets were in our 8th house in the last month and a half, which is a bit dark, which is a bit that went crazy on conspiracies, and I'm like, what's happening in the world? It's getting exactly Orwellian. We're never gonna, freedom, people are never gonna get their freedoms back. It will be digital nightmare. And I got very overwhelmed with the dark energy of the 8th house. But this 9th house activity with the planets, especially making new conjunctions, new insights come to you, new rays of hope, new perspective of how the future will be for you and for the world collectively, and a higher, more positive attitude. And there are some things to be careful about, because Mars and Mercury are conjoined together almost the whole month. Especially around the 9th, when it's the triple conjunction, you might find yourself fighting with others. Why? Because the Sun rules your 7th house, and it's part of the triple conjunction. Others. Mercury rules communications, and Mars rules fighting, and it's in the 9th house of your beliefs. So you might find yourself either fighting with others about what you believe or being very actively involved in proclaiming your beliefs or making some statement or communications that they might even wire other people up or make them angry at you, but you're kind of proclaiming your truth there. And you might step on people's toes, but it's almost like you're the voice of God this month. In October, you're going to have some incredible insights, and you might even come across a bit preachy, a bit high on your moral horse, because that's like the most moral house. And you might have incredible insights about your life, the life of others. Just be careful not to be intruding them on others. I'm not gonna take my own advice because I'll be making videos, so I'll be intruding my own advice on you. And you can do it in a very passionate way, excitable way. But again, just be careful about such confrontations, and especially Mercury rules your fifth house of children. So be careful, and your eighth house of mutual finances and resources, and especially during the conjunction with Mars, which is exact on the 9th, but it's active almost the whole month. Be careful not to have power struggles and fights with loved ones, with lovers, with children, which is the fifth house. About there might be some expenses connected to such matters, to children or to entertainments and enjoyments that are happening. You might take some important decisions in regards to your love life or in regards to some creative project. As I said, it's a new cycle between Mercury and Mars that's starting. And Mercury is spoken, written, word, communication, and it rules your fifth house of creativity. So some new great creative ideas can come to you in such matters as well, and you can act on them. You'll be required to be very active. Maybe a new idea to write something comes, you have to do it. New idea to make video, a new idea to make some kind of a project or whatever it is. But it is inspirational. It is the ninth house after all. There can be, some of you might be very much into learning something this month. You can be an opportunity to start some course, to study something, to start studying some higher knowledge, to start some university degree, some opportunity to start teaching somewhere as well. But you kind of get the insights as well. Or also you can attract a new teacher. This can be a month where there is a trigger of meeting the right spiritual teacher, the right mentor, not necessarily in spiritual field as well, because ninth house rules teachers. But ninth house is also the house of the father. So you have to be careful not to have confrontations there. I'm doing a horoscope for myself basically because I can see that me and my dad might be because that's two fiery planets in the house of the fire. Usually the father can become overbearing, or father figures can become a bit overbearing, and everyone thinks they know right and they know best. You can be very convinced in your beliefs this month. There can be the possibility even to the planning of some seminar, the planning of some travel that happens in October for you, and some new teachings fascinating you while completing some old ones and studies. And of course, as I said, our planet is turning direct. Yes, there will be responsibilities, but they start moving forward and start seeing their results. So a new chapter kind of. Of course, there is also Venus, and it's again supportive. Venus is in the 11th house, and it's being very supportive to our sign with a sextile, which is help. We can get help and support from friends, especially friends you know from before, because Venus is with the South Node. South Node is usually someone you have past life connection or early life connection. So such people can enter your life again, or they can be helpful, supportive to you, and with your vision of the future as well. And Venus can also indicate that there can be some very pleasurable this month encounters with possibly more spiritual people that you are connected not so much about physical pleasures and enjoyments, but on more deeper topics, more spiritual topics. And you might be tempted to join communities, which is 11th house is communities, whether online or in real life, that are talking, and you might really enjoy just going online and reading comments in communities of like-minded people, social activism and so on, because Venus is what we enjoy. But we can join with people that we have more spiritual connection with, or even past life connection of some sort during that time. And Venus is also your love life in the 11th house. Well, maybe if through a friendship or a friend, they can be something that um, deepen, that feels more familiar, but it's karmic, and it's meaning karmic, you've known each other in a past lifetime, and it can turn into something somehow more. But overall, you can receive a lot of spiritual pleasures and joys, which is Venus Ketu, from social activism, or not. Venus is not so active, but social participation or affiliation, more like with like-minded people, some kind of even finding your spiritual tribe of women. Venus or of like-minded interests can happen, or this can be at least your escape and pleasure that you feel this month from all the activity, because you're doing important things in your life, you're starting to move forward, you're having a bigger, newer vision of the future, and so on. So fascinating. I'm actually moving to a new house, but that's indicated by Rahu in the in my fourth house, Placidus, moving there. So yeah, anyway, but generally these are the influences that I see. Of course, oh, I forgot to say, okay, Jupiter also rules your second house. When it turns direct on the 18th, if there was some delays or kind of finances being more stuck, you're gonna start feeling a positive increase and a positive improvement with your finances when Jupiter starts moving direct. So that's, I forgot to say that Jupiter rules these houses as well. So you will notice great improvement. And the 11th house of gains, second house, 11th house is gains, second house is financial stability overall, savings. So you can see positive improvement and paying off on efforts if you've been putting efforts in those areas after the 18th. So, and then we end up on the 20th with the full moon in the third house in Aries. Very busy time for communications after the 20th, interactions on media with others, while you're gathering the higher knowledge with the stellium in the ninth house. After the 20th, you start dispersing it to others and speaking it out, and you can get more engaged, especially some some commercial project if you are doing, which is third house. You can put it on the market after the full moon, or you can see the completion of some project that involves a lot of communication, or that involves a website building, or it coming together basically, because third house rules websites, commercial projects, sales, documentations, work in a team. It's very administrative business house, so you can start seeing some business activity or something that that involves media, writing, speaking, internet, that it starts coming together, or you start seeing the fruition of that. And maybe you even started it a long time ago when there was a new moon there in Aries, 1.5 years ago, 2 years, or something like that. So this is what I see for you. I think you would appreciate the news. And a very good day, for example, is the 15th. I tell it to everyone because Jupiter will be trine the Sun. If you want to, for example, release some important project, make some important statement, it will do some important journey because it's in the ninth house, start to study something important, do some kind of, you want to teach something, out, advice, or even release a project, because Jupiter rules the second house of money. And then Jupiter trines Mars, which rules the 10th house of career, on the 19th. So it can be fantastic time, the 15th and then the 19th, for career, for travel. First travel, the 15th, higher knowledge, study. The Mars trine Jupiter, some great development on the 19th or 18th, 19th, 20th, even with your career. Mars rules your career, and with communications and receiving some piece of information or documents, because Mars also rules the third house, which rules those things, along with media as well, and so on. So thank you so much, Aquarius. Enjoy this month. It's extremely supportive, extremely inspiring, and extremely empowering, albeit sometimes difficult, because Saturn is stationary and slowly turning direct, but things are going in the direction you want. So Keep strong, have faith. You'll be very happy by the end of the month with what you've achieved. And if you want to check your personal transits, don't hesitate to check out the transit calendar, which is free for you. 50,000 people are using it, and it's not general like this. It doesn't give just the general transit, it gives your specific transits, which no one else in the world has. And it's kind of a bit addictive because you every day go and check all the transits you have and what they mean. Never get addicted on anything else outside of yourself, only on the divine connection. And thank you so much, and I will see you soon again.